you saying in Facebook?
Do you solemnly swear the evidence you give the court and jury in the case down here, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Lally.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the jury?
MCCABE, MCCABE.
And where do you live, ma'am?
Canton.
And how long have you lived in Canton?
Basically my whole life except first few months I lived in Stoughton.
And do you work? Do you go to school?
I'm a student.
In college, is that correct?
Yes.
And what year are you in college?
I just finished my sophomore year.
And when living in Canton, who, if anyone, do you live in Canton?
My 2 parents and my 3 sisters.
So you're one of 4 girls, is that correct?
Correct.
And are you the oldest?
Yes.
And your parents, what are their names?
Matt and Jen.
If I could turn your attention to January 28th into January 29th, 2022. Do you recall those days?
Yes.
And do you recall what days of the week those were?
Friday and Saturday, I believe.
And so on that Friday evening, starting with there, well, let me ask you this first. At that time, you were a high school student, is that correct?
Correct.
And where did you go to high school?
Canton High School.
All 4 years?
Yes.
And did you play any sports when you were at Canton High School?
Yes.
And what sports did you play?
Soccer, hockey, and lacrosse.
And so January, that would have been which sports season?
Hockey season.
Now, with respect to the hockey, as far as that evening of the 28th, how did your evening start out, or what, if anything, were you doing first that evening?
It started with a team dinner at my house. The hockey team came over. We had dinner. Then I went to my sister's basketball game at the Canton High School. Then I was hanging out with 2 of my friends. We were driving around. Then the night ended with me driving Colin Albert home.
And so let me start sort of back at the beginning before we go all the way through. So as far as the team dinner, is that something that was like a weekly thing?
Yeah, it was usually like the night before a game.
And sort of rotated between different players' houses?
Correct.
So where was it on that particular?
That night it was at my house.
And about what time did the team dinner get done, or what time did that wind down and you went to the basketball?
I'm not exactly sure. The basketball games typically start around 6:30, so I assume around then.
And who, if anyone, from your family was involved in the basketball?
My younger sister.
And was she JV, varsity? What was she playing on at that time?
Varsity.
And who, if anyone else from your family, was at the basketball?
My parents. I'm not sure about my sisters.
And did you go with your parents or separately, or how did you get?
I believe I drove and I arrived later than my parents.
And as far as at that time, did you have your own car?
Yes.
What kind of car did you have?
A little Ford Fusion.
This is Allison McCabe.
And when you arrived there, you're a high school senior, correct?
Correct.
Did you sit with your parents during the game?
No.
There's sort of like a student section, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you sat there with your friends.
Yes.
And when the game gets over, where was it that you went?
I believe I was just driving around with 2 of my friends. And then as we were driving, we came across a dog on the side of the street. And we knew a snowstorm was coming. So we picked the dog up and then brought it to the police station and then drove the dog back to where its owner's house.
And so just as far as the friends that you were driving around with, what are their names?
Avery Panadosi and Danielle Seaman.
Can you do us a favor and spell those last names for our court
yes.
reporter, please?
Piantedosi.
And the second name?
S. Danielle Seaman, Seaman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And those were friends of yours from school, from Canton High School as well?
Yes.
And had they been with you at the game previously?
Yes, I believe so.
So you, when you say drove around, whereabouts were you driving?
Through Canton, pretty aimlessly, just driving.
And at some point you come upon a dog, is that correct?
Correct.
And where was that?
On Elm Street.
And this was a dog obviously unfamiliar to you, is that correct?
Yes.
So what did you do with the dog?
The dog ran over to the car when we stopped and picked the dog up, and we didn't really know what to do with it, so we brought it to the police station.
Do you recall at all what kind of dog it was?
No, white.
Dog, small dog?
It was small. It was white and brown. Not sure what type.
And so while you're at the police station, what, if anything, did you learn about that dog that you brought to the police station?
I went in the police station. The dog stayed in the car with one of my friends, and As I was walking in and telling the officer that I found a dog, he got a call from the owner, and she asked if she was like, "Oh, can you return my dog, please?"
And so you brought the dog back to the owner?
Yes.
You know about what time all of that was going on?
I'm not sure.
Now, you mentioned that you had picked up a person by the name of Colin Albert. Is that right?
Correct.
And who was Colin Albert to you, or can you describe to the jury sort of your relationship with Colin?
I've known Colin since I've been born. Our families are very close. We went to high school together, growing up, in the same friend group. So yeah, we're very close.
So he was in the same grade as you, is that right?
Correct.
So he was a senior at this time as well?
Yes.
And you have mutual friends together?
Yes.
Now, the two of you are not actually sort of blood related, is that correct?
Correct.
But you have sort of relatives in common, is that correct?
Yes.
And to that point, as far as when he reached out to you, let me ask you this. How is it that you came to come by and sort of pick him up on that evening?
He texted me and was asking for a ride, and then I responded, drove, and got him, texted him when I arrived.
Now, as far as that sort of, I don't know what exactly to call it, but as far as you picking him up at certain places, like on weekend nights, is that out of the realm of normalcy, or was that something that happened on occasion?
No, that's common. He knew I was driving that night, so it's pretty common. Our friends, we always just drive each other around and stuff.
And without getting too much into it, as far as high school was concerned, particularly when someone was drinking, would they call and ask for a ride?
Correct, yes.
Rather than driving their own car?
Yes.
And as far as you knew, was Colin drinking at least at some point during that evening?
Yes.
Is that why he needed a ride?
Yes.
And with respect to your parents, did you, around this time that you're driving around and you're going to pick up Colin, did you have any idea where your parents were or what they were doing?
I knew they were going out after the basketball game, but no, I didn't know. I have their Life 360. They have mine, so I wasn't sure though.
And as far as the Life 360 goes, is that something that that you sort of keep track of them, or they keep track of you?
It's more them keeping track of me.
Now, do you know approximately what time it was that you first get sort of a Colin reaches out via text to pick him up?
I believe it was around midnight. I'm not exactly exact, but around midnight.
And did you know where he was when he asked you to pick him up?
Yes, the Albert's house, 34 Fairview.
And is that a house that you're familiar with?
Yes.
And what, if any, relationship do you have to the people that live at the Alberts?
My aunt and uncle and my cousins.
So Brian Albert is your uncle, correct?
Correct.
Paul Albert is your aunt.
Correct.
How is she your aunt? The father's side, the mother's side?
My mother's sister.
And Colin Albert, obviously last name Albert, he's related to people at Fairview as well?
Correct.
Sort of on the other side of the family?
Correct.
And do you know as far as your conversation with Colin, do you know why he was over at that house that night?
It was little Brian's birthday.
And so he had gone over for that purpose and you went by to pick him up?
Yes.
And do you recall where you were or sort of who you were with when you first get that text or communication from Colin to pick him up?
Yes, I was at another friend's house. After I drove Avery and Danielle home, I went somewhere else.
So you drove with two friends that you were with earlier home and then you went somewhere else?
Yes, I believe yes.
At that point, did you get a text from Colin?
Yes.
Now, do you recall whether or not the information that you had as to where Colin was that night, is that something that came via text as well, or was that a phone call or some other type of communication?
I knew he was there. Could have been a phone call. I'm not sure.
So were there a variety of different ways that you would have communicated with Colin around that time?
Yes, there's other apps as well. Yes.
I'm sorry, you said through apps as well?
Yes.
What kind of apps are there?
For example, like Snapchat.
So you had each other sort of Snapchat information, phone number information, call, text, snap, ribbon, any of those things?
Yes.
Now, when you get that communication from him to come pick him up, about how long a period of time was it from the time that you get the text from Colin to the time that you arrive in the area?
I'm not sure.
And you're familiar with that home at 34 Fairview, right?
Correct.
Place you've been to countless times before. You're related to the people that own it.
Correct.
And do you recall from where you were coming from as far as how did you come to Fairview? Would that have been on the Chapman side or the Cedar Crest side, or how did you come?
I don't remember.
And when you get to the home, you obviously park at some point, correct?
Correct.
And where in relation to the house?
I believe in the driveway on the left side. Not entirely sure. I just believe that.
And when you arrive, what, if any, communication did you send to Colin?
I texted him saying here.
And after you texted that to Colin, he comes out of the house. Is that correct?
Correct.
And when he comes out of the house, about how long a period of time was it from the time that you texted him here to the time that he comes out to the car?
I'm not sure. A few minutes.
And in the area around the time that you arrived on Fairview Road, what, if anything, do you recall in regard to weather, or what was it doing then?
I believe it was starting to snow. Nothing crazy.
As far as accumulation, what, if anything, did you observe at that time?
Lights on in the house. That's it.
As far as the snow was concerned, was it starting to sort of stick to the ground?
I don't remember.
So you text Colin shortly thereafter he comes out, is that right?
Correct.
If you recall, you're familiar, obviously, as a couple times now with the house. There were 2 doors in the front of the house, is that right?
Yes.
And do you know which of the 2 doors Colin came out of?
No, I'm not sure.
And when he came down, he came over to the car, correct?
Yes.
And you're in the driveway?
Yes.
He gets into what part of the car? Front passenger seat?
Yes, I believe.
And from the time that you, so when you leave from there, where is it that you went?
His house and then my house.
You dropped him off at his house and then you went home?
Correct.
Okay,
Now-
Mr. Lally, we're actually going to break here. We have to break a little bit early, but we'll be back at 2. Okay, so we're going to ask you to sit in your seat and let the jurors go on first, and then Mr. Baby can follow them.
Thank you.
All rise.
She likes to just cut people off, doesn't she?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. And skipping lunch. La la la.
All right,
And
we'll be back at 2.
The
There we are.
residence at 34 Fairview Road. You pulled into the driveway, is that correct?
I
have a
believe
nice
so.
lunch.
And obviously, on that day, you were familiar with the types of vehicles that your parents drove?
Yes.
And did you see any of your parents' vehicles at the home when you pulled in and parked in the driveway?
No.
And when you got to the house at any point, did you exit the car or go inside the house?
No.
So you texted him that you were there, you stayed in the car, and he came out.
Yes.
And when Colin came out to the car, what, if any, observations did you make of him in regards to his sobriety, as far as what, if any, observations did you make in respect to that?
Normal.
Didn't seem overly intoxicated to you?
No.
And as far as his face or features, or from whatever you could see, what, if any, injuries did you observe on Colin when he came out?
None.
And how would you describe his demeanor when he came out and he got into the home?
Normal.
Now, during the course, you drove from the Fairview home to Colin's house, is that right?
Yes.
And where was Colin living at that time?
I don't know the address, but his new house, not the one where he was neighbors with John, the newer house.
And if you could, just generally speaking, where was that in relation to the town of Canton? What was it?
It's in the center of town, close to the library.
And do you recall, or do you know what type of residence that is?
Yes, it's like condos. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, townhouses.
As far as your drive from the residence in Fairview to Colin's house, did you make any stops along the way?
No.
About how long a drive is it from Fairview to Colin's new house?
7 minutes, 5 minutes.
And when you arrived there, what did you observe Colin do?
Got out of the car, went inside, got the key, locked it, went inside.
And is that something as far as, did you wait for him to get inside?
Yes.
And why was it?
I always wait for him because it's like how he has to open the first door to get inside. So I usually just wait for everyone to get inside.
And during the car ride from Fairview to Colin's house, do you recall anything specific about, did you have a conversation with him?
Probably. I don't remember what we were talking about.
And then following that, where did you go?
I believe home.
And when you got home, were either of your parents home at that point?
No.
Do you know about what time it was that you got?
Not exactly. I would estimate a little bit before 12:30, around that time.
And at any point in time over the rest of the course of that evening, did you see your parents? Did you talk to your parents or anything like that?
I know I talked to my dad on the phone when we found the dog. Other than that, no.
And so after your return home, when you went to bed or you went to sleep, were your parents home at that point?
No.
About how much time was it between the time when you got home, around 12:30 or so, and when you went to sleep?
Not long. I don't know.
Now, turning your attention to the following day, at some point you woke up, correct?
Yes.
And were your parents home at that point?
Yes.
And were both of your parents home at that point?
Yes.
Do you know about what time it was that you woke up the next morning?
No, I do not.
Now, Ms. McCabe, at some point in August of 2023, did you have occasion to meet with some troopers from the state police?
Yes, I believe I'm not sure what time, but on a Zoom.
And was that one trooper or more than one trooper or something?
I believe 2. I'm not sure.
Can you recall any of the names of any of those troopers?
Yuri maybe was one of them. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, just gonna wait for that.
Mm.
And now, ma'am, following that meeting that you had with troopers from the state police, what, if anything, did you provide to them from your phone?
Text messages with Colin, maybe pictures. I don't know. Definitely the text messages.
And before we get to that, just as far as your phone, what kind of phone did you have at that time?
I believe an iPhone 14 Pro Max, maybe.
And I should have been more specific as far as the time, but the iPhone you're talking about as far as the Pro Max, was that in January of 2022
Oh, I'm sorry.
or in August of 2022?
That was in August.
And between January of 2022 and August of 2023, did you have the same phone throughout that time period?
I'm not sure. I believe I upgraded. Yeah.
And when you upgraded your phone, what, if any, data sort of carried over from the old phone to the new phone?
Everything.
So as far as chats or text messages or phone contacts, things like that, all of that transferred from one phone to the new phone?
Correct.
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Hello, Mimi. Hello, darling.
And so first, ma'am, I'm going to show you a 2-page document to ask you to take a look at it and look over.
Okay.
And do you recognize that, ma'am?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that?
This is from my phone, my text messages.
And the second page, what is that?
Colin's contact information.
Are those screenshots that you took from your phone and provided to the troopers in August of 2023?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
May I approach you, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm also seeking to introduce the debate as
Objection, that has to be heard.
Okay, come on up and bring that.
Yes, Missy, can I help you? What is it you are after? Hmm?
Now, before we go any further in front of the jury. Okay. So, Mr. Lally, you can take the exhibits back and you can question this witness, and then Ms. Giannetti can cross-examine.
May I approach with?
Yes.
Alderman? So, Ms. McCabe, with reference to the 2 screenshots that we were just talking about before the jury left the room, those are screenshots that you took from your own phone, correct?
Correct.
And as far as the communications contained therein, is it your memory that those are communications that you had with Colin Albert?
Why don't you ask her what they are, non-leaded?
Those screenshots, as far as the communications, what are they? When were they done?
At a later date. Is that what you're asking? Sorry.
So I'm asking as far as the actual content of the conversations. When did those conversations occur?
January 28th.
And you were a participant in those conversations?
Yes.
And as far as the content of those conversations, is it your memory that the content reflected there is accurate as to what the content of the conversations were between yourself and Colin Albert the evening of the 28th and the 29th?
Yes.
And Colin Albert was somebody that you were familiar with, correct?
Yes.
And beyond what's contained within these screenshots, you had had other text communications with Colin Albert using the same contact information?
Correct.
And how is it that you knew or were aware that the person or the contact that you were talking to was Colin Albert?
Because it's his phone?
With reference to that contact you had in your phone for Colin Albert, had you called that number before?
Yes.
When you called the number, who answered?
Colin?
And when you had texted Colin on prior occasions using that contact information, did you have any, you have a text communication, did you have any subsequent conversation in relation to the content of those text communications?
Sorry, can you rephrase that?
And I'm not just asking specifically about these. What I'm saying is you have contact information in your phone for Colin Albert.
Yes.
And on any of those prior occasions when you had texted that contact information, you put in as Colin Albert into your phone. And just to be clear, you were the one who input that number as Colin Albert in your phone.
Yes.
And so on this or any prior occasions when you had contacted via text that contact of Colin Albert in your phone, following those text communications, did you have any conversation with Colin Albert related to the content of those communications?
Sorry, I'm confused.
Do you understand the question? You have to make
Sorry.
these simpler. Let's try and get through this. Dear Mr. Allen.
At some point during the course of your, how long had you had Colin's contact information in your phone?
For a while, years.
And over the course of those years, had you had conversations related to content in text in person?
Oh, yes.
And as far as the content that you had texted to that number you associated or input as Colin Albert, was Colin Albert aware of the content of those text communications?
Oh, correct. Yeah.
And within those specific screenshot of the text communications from that evening, as far as your recollection of that particular evening, are the times that are associated with those accurate as far as you remember?
Yes.
And did you do anything to alter the times that are associated with those text communications prior to taking the screenshot and giving it to the state police?
No.
Now, turning to the other two screenshots that you took, those are photographs, correct?
Did I take them?
I'm just asking what they are.
Oh, both pictures of Colin. One's with my aunt. The other's just him and some other people blocked off.
And do you know when and where those were taken?
Yes, they were taken at the Albert's house. One of their sons were coming home from the Marines, so it was like a welcome home party.
And when was that in relation to the evening of January 28th, 29th?
A few weeks after.
And that sort of coming home celebration for your cousin who was coming home from the Marines, were you there for that?
Yes.
And so as far as your observation of those photographs is what's depicted of Colin Albert, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what he looked like on February 11th?
Sure.
Yes.
I have nothing further.
All right, Ms. Gianetti.
Thank you, Ron. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How long have you had an iPhone? We're not talking about your current iPhone, but just iPhones in general.
For years.
More than 5 years?
Yes.
And how old are you now?
I'm 20.
20. And when did you get your first iPhone, if you remember?
I don't remember.
12, 13?
Yeah, around middle schoolish.
Maybe 7 or 8 years. Is that a decent estimate?
Yes.
And in those 7 or 8 years, you have learned how to operate an iPhone, the various features that they have and the apps that you can download and use, correct?
Correct.
And your current iPhone has a number of apps on it, correct?
Correct.
With regard to the text message app, you'll agree with me that that is a green icon with a white sort of speech bubble in the middle of it.
Yes, I believe.
And you know that when you click on that, it gives you a list of the text messages that you're exchanging with people, the various threads, correct?
Correct.
You know that if you click on a thread, it opens up the individual text messages that you've sent and received to that particular person, correct?
Correct.
And you know that if you take your finger or your thumb and you hold it on one particular text that's either sent to you or from you, you can do things with that individual text, correct?
Correct.
You can
What do you mean?
forward it to somebody else, right?
Correct, I believe.
In the context of a conversation, you can just reply to that one particular text message, right?
Correct.
And if you do that, rather than hit the arrow button where you forward or reply, on the left side of the screen, there's a trash can, correct?
I'm not sure.
You know that you can delete a text from a thread, correct?
Correct.
And it's a trash can that you
Oh.
click on, right?
Correct.
I'm not trying to trick you.
No, I was confused. Sorry.
No, I don't mean to confuse you. So you know that if you click on the trash can, it gives you an option to either cancel or to delete the message, correct?
Correct.
And what happens if you delete the message?
It's deleted off the phone.
Okay, so it's gone from that thread, correct?
Correct.
I don't know, though.
Somebody looking at a screenshot that you take after you've deleted that message it wouldn't be evident that that message was ever there, correct?
Correct.
Now, you testified at a hearing in Boston on August 3rd of 2023, correct?
Correct.
That was, and we're not with a jury present, that was a federal grand jury, correct?
Correct.
And you had, by that point, by August of 2023, you no longer had the phone that you originally had on January 29th of 22, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
You had gotten a new phone in December of 2022, correct?
Okay, I'm not sure what time, but
Does that?
yeah, I got a new phone. I believe I got a new phone.
But, and actually, the timing's not that important, just that it was before that grand jury appearance.
Okay, yes.
All right. And what did you do with the old phone when you got the new phone?
Transfer through iCloud, everything transfers over.
Okay, but I'm actually talking about the hardware itself.
Oh, what did I do?
iPhone.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, I'm sorry. Not the data on the phone. I understand that you've testified that you transferred that to the new phone, but the actual physical phone itself, where did that go when you got the new phone?
I'm not sure.
Would that have been traded in?
Possibly.
You don't have it now, correct?
I don't think, no.
And as of August of 2023, you didn't have it either, correct?
Correct.
Is it fair to say that no investigator from this case ever asked you for that phone that you had on January 29th?
Correct.
All right, so, Ms. Giannetti, can we just focus on the voir dire? All that you're doing, you can cross-examine her with, but on the voir dire of this.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'd just like to get the jurors back in.
No, I understand, Your Honor. I understand. I was trying to lay a foundation, but maybe it's not necessary. With regard to...
If you need to do it, go ahead. I'm just trying to.
I want to accommodate this, Your Honor. With regard to the messages that are in a given thread, right? We've talked about the fact that you are aware that you can reply to them, an individual message forward or delete one, correct?
Correct.
You're also aware that it is possible to change the timestamp on any individual message, correct?
No, I'm not aware of that.
You go to settings and you go to general and you go to date and time. First of all, you can change the time zone of the message. Do you have your iPhone with you right now?
Not on me.
Not on you? And in addition to being able to change the time zone, you actually can change the hour and minute to whatever you want it to be. Were you aware of that?
No.
With regard to photos on your phone, you are aware that you can change the date and time of any photo in your photo app, correct?
Nope.
There is a little, when you go to your iPhone, there's a little I for information. And all you need to do is, or I think it's for info or information. All you need to do is click on that and you get a pop-up from the bottom that gives you the choice to alter the date and time. Did you know that?
No.
Next to that date and time is the word adjust, and that's all you have to click on. And you can change the time from 12:10 a.m., or you can change it from 12:40 a.m. to 12:10 a.m., or you can change it from 1:45 to 12:10 a.m. And it's that easy.
Yep. Now I know. I didn't know that. I didn't do that.
If I may have a moment.
Okay.
It's not something I've ever heard of.
That's it for the voir dire.
Okay. So I'm going to allow this testimony in. Your argument goes to the weight of the evidence, not its admissibility. But I did, under Commonwealth versus Tracci, want to give you your voir dire. Okay. All right. So let's bring the jurors back in.
Yes, P-U-R-D-Y. Your Honor, before the jurors come back in, may I just retrieve the exhibits?
Yes, but I'd like to see counsel at sidebar while they're coming in.
Oh, sorry.
Court's back in session. Please be seated. Your Honor, I apologize profusely. I just need one more minute. I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm. Hello, darling.
And it rang, correct?
Correct.
And who, if anyone, answered the phone when you contacted that phone number in your phone?
Colin.
Now, with reference to Colin and the contact in your phone, had you had prior text communications with Colin using that contact that you put in?
Correct.
And outside of those text communications that you had, did you have sort of physical, in-person conversations with Colin in regard to content that was within text messages you have with that content?
Yes, I assume so.
And specifically on that date of January 28th and the 29th, when you arrived at the home on Fairview Road, you texted Colin that you were there?
Yes.
And after you texted him that, what, if anything, happened after that?
He responded saying okay, and then he came out to the car.
And Your Honor, if I may, with the court's permission, just publish the text communication to the jury on the screen?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ms. Gilman, if you could hold down a bit. Now, what's up on the screen, Mr. Cave, is that what you have before you as the exhibit?
Yes.
And looking at, there's sort of one side has text and one side has blue bubble, is that correct?
Yes.
And if you know who is communicating with who as far as the sort of plain text outside of bubble?
Colin and I? Is that what you're asking? Sorry.
What I'm asking is, who's the blue bubble?
Oh, sorry. I'm the blue bubble and he is the gray whitish bubble.
And from sort of the top of what's depicted on the screen, you read the text that you received and the time that you received.
Yes. 11:54, and then I responded at 11:55.
And what did Colin say at 11:54?
You can get me now if easier.
And what did you?
Okay, I am driving people home now.
And what did Colin respond to that, and what time did he respond?
He responded, word, get me after.
And if you could scroll down. And following the get me after, what if any responses you provided?
KK, okay, and here,
And here that you texted, what time does that read on the screenshot?
12:10 a.m.
And what, if anything, did Colin respond to the hero text?
He responded at the same time saying, okay.
Somebody can take that. May I approach this retrieve, Your Honor?
Yes.
Do you need that? Thank you. Okay, thank you.
So the next two pages, two separate pages, contain photographs, is that correct?
Yes.
And you recognize what's depicted in those photographs that I just placed before you?
Yes.
What do you recognize those?
It's Colin. Is that what you're asking?
Well, let me ask you more specifically.
Okay.
So, were these also screenshots that you provided to troopers of the state police in August of 2020?
Yes, I believe so.
What's in regard to those two photographs, do you know when and where those photographs were taken?
They were taken February 11th at the Alberts, Nicole and Brian's house.
Objection.
No, I'm going to let her testify when they were taken.
And so February 11th of what year, ma'am?
2022.
So a few weeks after January 28th, 2019.
Hello,
correct?
madam.
Yes.
And were you present at the Alberts house on the evening of February 11th?
How are you, sweetheart? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. We are about the tail end of day 12. We're doing a recap on the first trial. There is a whole playlist from the first day right through, and I'm hoping to get through them all by Tuesday. That's why I'm running them almost back to back. So you're more than welcome to stay and watch, or you're more than welcome to catch up with them later. I'm going to divide them into individual testimonies as well. So if you just wanted to watch select bits, you can do that too. Otherwise, there is a ton of playlists for you to peruse. But welcome.
When they were taken.
Yes.
And what was the purpose of yourself and or Colin or anybody being over the Albert's house on that day?
One of Nicole and Brian's sons were coming home from their Marines, so there was like a welcome home party with family and friends.
And that is your cousin Jack, is that correct?
Correct.
And as far as what's contained in those photographs, is that a fair and accurate portrayal as far as your memory of what Colin looked like on February 11th?
Correct.
And Your Honor, may I approach again?
Yes.
Almost seek to introduce in a minute the next two exhibits.
Again, subject to our discussion.
Sure. Okay. Yes, those are clear.
And then just returning those to you. And first, I would direct your attention to what's been now marked as Exhibit 82. Ms. Gilman, with court's permission, may I publish those to the jury's attention?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I stand a moment?
Yes.
Gilman, if you could just enlarge that a bit. And do you recognize what's now up on the screen is what you have before you as Exhibit 82?
Yes.
And if you could just describe to the jury sort of what we're looking at in this photograph, who's taking this?
Colin and my auntie Coco.
And your auntie Coco is also Nicole Albert?
Yeah. Yes, Nicole.
And if I could direct your attention to the next exhibit for you, Exhibit 83. Pull that up on the screen. And Ms. Gilman, if you could allow. And again, what's up on the screen, is that what you have before you as Exhibit 83?
Yes.
This is the same evening, is that correct?
Correct.
You know where in the house this photograph was taken?
I believe they call it their library. Maybe it's the room in the back.
And as far as
Indeedly doodly.
taking this photograph in reference to your friend Colin Albert, as far as his face, his arms, his hands, is that
We all are free to have our own thoughts and opinions and express them. It is a safe space here. As long as they're kept respectful, you are free to speak your mind. Just ask Udahef.
fair and accurate portrayal of what he looked like on February 11th?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Ms. Gilman, you can take it. Your Honor, may I approach one more time
Yes.
to retrieve?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Cianetti?
Thank you. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ms. McCabe, you have known Colin Albert your whole life, correct?
Correct.
Your mother is Jennifer McCabe.
That's
Correct.
life, my love. That's
His mother
life.
is Julie Albert,
Correct.
and her maiden name was Julie Daniels.
Correct.
Your mother,
Yeah.
Jennifer, grew up together with his mother, Julie, correct?
Correct.
In fact, it's compulsory.
You and Colin are extremely close, correct?
Yes.
In fact, you would consider Colin Albert to be one of your best friends in the world, correct?
Yes, he's one of my best friends.
Now, you claim that you took a screenshot of a text conversation that you had with Colin Albert on January 29th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
Those were the screenshots that were just shown to this jury this afternoon, correct?
Correct.
And
I don't know what you're
you
talking
claim
about.
that
I have no idea. None.
the information on that screenshot actually existed on January 29th, correct?
Correct.
Did you tell your mother, Jennifer McCabe, that you had that text conversation with Colin Albert anytime after January 29th of 2022?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you give to your mother, Jennifer McCabe, a screenshot of that text message conversation?
Objection.
Sustained.
It's fair to say that on January 29th, 30th, 31st, you did not turn over that screenshot.
We haven't
any
even
law
got to
enforcement
trial
official,
2 yet.
correct, of January 2022?
No, I was never asked.
No investigator from this case ever asked you for copies or a copy of that screenshot of that text message conversation on January 29th, 30th, or 31st, correct?
Correct.
They also did not ask you for a copy of that screenshot through the whole month of February, correct?
Correct.
In fact, all of 2022, no investigator ever approached you to say, can I have a copy of that screenshot, correct?
Correct.
And in addition to that, you never called an investigator to say, hey, I have a copy of a screenshot of a text message conversation that I had with Colin Elton, correct?
No, it wouldn't have been relevant at that time,
Okay.
I believe, because Colin was not at the house and wasn't introduced as being there until later.
So your testimony today is that at no time in the year 2022 did you consider it relevant at all that you had this screenshot of this text conversation, correct?
Correct.
Leaving that screenshot aside, actually, before I leave that topic, you didn't turn over that screenshot of a text message until sometime during the summer of 2023, correct?
Correct.
Oh,
About a year and a half or more after January 29th of 2022.
We don't have one for this trial, do we? All right. Yeah, we do. Hank Brennan. I'll see if I can find the certificate and bring it up for Marjorie.
Correct?
Yes, when I was asked.
And by that time, the summer of 2023, you had already switched phones, correct?
Yes, I believe.
In other words, the iPhone that you had on January 29th of 2022, you no longer had possession of that physical phone, correct?
Correct.
You had a new iPhone, correct?
Correct.
And you say that you transferred over the data from the old phone to the new phone, correct?
Correct.
When did you take that screenshot that was displayed to the jury today?
I don't remember.
Was it before or after you got rid of your old phone?
I don't remember.
So we don't know if that screenshot was from your phone that you got in December of 2022 or if it was from the phone that you had back in January of 2022, correct?
Correct.
That phone that you got in December of 2022, it's now May of 2024. Do you still have that same?
So generally every trial we do, we have the inaugural award of being the dipshit for the trial, and each one gets a certificate like this. With all the other dipshits. So you get to vote in chat during the trial, and whoever has the most votes gets the award.
Phone?
The phone, my old phone? Is that?
No, my question was, and again, I'm not trying to trick you in any way here. The phone that you got in December of 2022, the new phone at that time, is that the phone, your current phone?
Correct.
Now, before you got rid of the old phone and got the new one,
I think we're going to have to amend the rules on this case. I think we're going to have more than one. Just saying.
did any law enforcement official, prior to that December of 2022 time period, or investigator from this case ever ask to examine your physical phone itself?
No.
Did they ever say to you, we would like to do what's called an extraction on your phone?
No.
And you never gave that phone at any point to any law enforcement official before you got rid of it, correct?
Correct.
And the first time that you mentioned that text conversation outside your family was August 3rd of 2023, correct?
Come on.
Correct.
That was at a proceeding in Boston, correct?
Correct.
Where neither Mr. Lally nor Mr. McLaughlin agree with it.
Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, move along, Mr. Yannetti.
Yes. That proceeding in August of 2023 was less than a year ago, correct? We're in May of 2024?
Correct.
And that was a long time after John O'Keefe was found dead on Brian Albert's lawn, correct?
Correct.
And that August of 2023 when you're revealing that text exchange, that was over a year and a half after January 29th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
And leaving aside the screenshot, as of August 3rd of 2023, no investigator from this case, no state police trooper or anybody from the DA's office had ever interviewed you, right, prior to August of 2023?
I talked to the state troopers, but I don't know if that was before or after.
That was on August 25th of 2023, which is about 3 weeks after your testimony in the other proceedings. Does that refresh your memory?
Yes, then after.
And
Yeah,
at that point in time, on August 25th of 2023, you'll agree with me that you were not interviewed at a police station or a state police barracks, correct?
correct.
Or the DA's office, correct?
Correct.
You were interviewed by Zoom, correct?
Correct.
And you were not alone at that time in your home, correct?
I'm not sure.
Your mother, Jennifer McCabe, was present, correct?
Okay.
And she was monitoring what was going on in that interview, correct?
Objection.
Was that true?
I don't recall.
Okay. In any case, that too was over a year and a half after January 29th, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, I'd like to ask you some questions about, by the way, you've had an iPhone since you were 12 or 13 years old.
Correct.
And you're now how old?
20.
So 7 or 8 years would be a good estimate as to how long you've worked with iPhones?
Correct.
And obviously you know how an iPhone works, correct?
Correct.
You know how to reply and comment on text messages, correct?
Correct.
And you know that there's a lot of tools open to you to comment on text messages, correct?
Correct.
You can reply to a text using an icon or an emoji, right? To like or dislike something that somebody else said.
Correct.
You can laugh at it, you can love it, you can like it, correct?
Objection.
Right?
Correct.
And they make it pretty easy, right? All you need to do is put your finger or your thumb on a specific message and hold it down and options appear, correct?
Correct.
And that's where you get the thumbs up, thumbs down, the haha, exclamation points, question mark, etc.
Correct.
And you also have other options, which is down the bottom, there's a kind of a curved arrow where if you click on that, you can forward the message or reply to a specific message, correct?
Correct.
And on the left, there's a trash can, right?
Correct.
And what happens when you click on the trash can?
It will delete the message from your phone.
And it's your testimony that with regard to the screenshot that we saw, there are no deleted messages in that conversation, correct?
Yes.
However, you would agree, as you've already testified, that if a message had been deleted from a screenshot, we'd never know, right?
True.
You're also familiar with the apps that are on iPhones, correct?
Correct.
You have a number of apps on your iPhone, right?
Correct.
There might be 12 or 15, I haven't counted them, 12 or 15 maybe on your home screen, right?
Correct.
And if you swipe to the left, you get another new population of 12 or 15.
Correct.
Not bad for an old guy.
Yeah.
He's a bit tough.
And you use apps like Instagram.
Correct.
Snapchat is a popular app.
Correct.
And probably to your detriment, but Life 360.
Correct.
All right. That's been an app in the family for its main use for the parents. Keep track of their kids, right? Screenshot you saw of your text conversation that you say that you had with Colin Albert, you were in blue, right?
Correct.
That means that Colin Albert also had an iPhone at the time, correct?
Correct.
Now, with regard to the timestamp on those messages, the conversation about I'm here, I believe gave the time 12:10 a.m., correct?
Correct.
Are you aware how easy it is to change that time?
No.
Are you aware that all you need to do is go from settings to general, and then there's a date and time that you can alter?
Objection.
Are you aware of that?
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
You know that when you set up your iPhone, you have to choose a time zone, correct?
Correct.
And you always choose the New York time zone because that's where Boston is, right?
Correct.
Are you aware that if you go into settings, general, and then date and time, you can change the time zone to wherever you're going?
I guess I didn't. Once I set my phone up, I have no reason to change the time.
See? And in addition to changing the time zone, you literally can choose any time that you want. You could make 1:45 a.m. to 12:10 a.m. in about 3 seconds. Did you know that?
Do you know that? Do you know that?
No.
But if I'm not accusing you of this now, but if you had changed the time on that from a screenshot, we'd have no way of knowing, correct?
I guess.
Because what a screenshot ultimately becomes is like a photo, correct?
Correct.
It's not like you can edit it, right? I mean, the most that you can do is what we saw on the other photo that was displayed, which is kind of crossing out with the magic marker somebody's face or a time, right? That would be how you'd have to alter it, right?
Correct.
Now, I had asked you if prior to getting rid of your old phone and getting the new one, if law enforcement ever asked you to, go through the phone themselves, and you had said no, right?
Yes, they did not do that.
And then they never asked to do an extraction on the old phone, correct?
No.
What about the new phone that you now have, that you got in December? Have the state police ever asked to do, have they ever asked to look through that phone?
They look, no, I don't think so.
You provided the screenshot that was shown to the jury today on August 25th when you talked to the state police in this case, right, of 2023?
Correct.
And when you provided them that screenshot, did they say, hey, by the way, can I look at your phone to see if it's on there?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Did they say that to you?
I don't remember.
But in any case, you never physically showed them your phone, right?
No.
You don't recall clicking on that text message app, the green app with the kind of white speech bubble. You didn't click on that and then click on the Colin Albert conversation and say, here it is, did you?
No.
And in addition to not asking you to see your new phone, they also did not ask you to do an extraction of your new phone, correct?
Correct.
And at some point in time, you realized that you'd have to be a witness in this case and have the unfortunate incident of having to talk to me, right?
Objection.
I'm going to see Counselor Tybett for just a minute on this.
On August 25th, you told the trooper that you drove Colin straight to his house after you picked him up on January 29th, and then you went straight home, correct?
Yes, I believe.
And you have previously testified back in August of 2023 that you believe you dropped Colin Albert off at his home at around 12:15, 12:20 or so?
Correct.
And when you left, by the way, you're very familiar with 34 Fairview, right?
Correct.
That's family, correct?
Correct.
Been over there many, many, many times, correct?
Correct.
And you're familiar with the neighborhood in terms of the streets that are around there, right?
Correct.
And you've lived in Canton your whole life?
Yes. Until, yeah.
When you were a baby, you were in Stoughton?
Yes.
Basically, you're a Canton girl. Right?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury the route that you took home from 34 Fairview? Or actually, strike that. The route that you took to Colin Albert's house when you left 34 Fairview on January 29th?
I don't remember specifically, but I would believe I drove up Fairview. Then, sorry, I don't know the streets.
If I suggested to you that the street closest to 34 Fairview was Cedar Crest, and the one on the other side is Chapman. Does that refresh your memory?
Yeah, so Chapman,
Okay, so
I
you would
believe.
have gone up and gone to Chapman and taken a right or a left?
Really bad with directions. When I got there, I went to the center of town, his house. I don't know specifically which way. I'm trying to think of it. I can't picture it.
Yes.
Are you familiar with Washington Street in Canton?
Yes.
Would you have wound up on Washington Street?
Yes.
All right. And you're aware that the Canton Library is on the corner of Washington and Sherman Street. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you would have passed by the library?
Yes.
Now, with regard to whether you went straight home, did you, by the way, when you went home, did you stay there?
Yes, I believe so.
For in the rest of the night?
Yes.
Okay, and what time do you say that you arrived at home?
I'm not sure. Before around 12:30ish.
Okay. With regard to Life 360, would you agree with me that if you go on that app and you're trying to figure out where somebody in your family is, there's and let's say you want to know if somebody's home. There's like a circle that surrounds your home, correct?
Yes.
So once you enter that circle, you know that Life 360 gives an alert that said you arrived at home. Even though you're physically not walking in the door, you're within that circle, and that's the home circle, right?
Yes.
On January 29th of 2022, at 12:04 and 53 seconds, you arrived within that home circle, correct?
Correct.
And then at 12:06 and 55 seconds on January 29th, you left that home circle, correct?
Correct.
And then on January 29th of 2022 at 12:23 and 14 seconds, you completed a 7-mile drive where your top speed was 42 miles an hour. Does that make sense?
Correct.
And then you left home on January 29th of 2022 at 12:23 and 14 seconds as well. And what that probably means, reading between the lines, is that you entered that home circle, but then you didn't go home. You went through the home circle and completed a 7-mile drive somewhere, right?
I guess I thought I went home.
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your answer.
I believe I went home.
Okay.
I was completing my drive at my house.
All right, but at 12:26 a.m. on January 29th, you left home again, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
Did you leave home?
I don't know. I don't remember.
All right. And at 12:26 a.m. and 12 seconds, you arrived at the Canton High School, correct?
No.
On January 29th of 2022, at 12:26 and 55 seconds, you completed a 1-mile drive where your top speed was 43 miles per hour, right?
I don't believe so.
And then at 12:26 and 55 seconds on January 29th, you left Canton High School and arrived at home on January 29th of 2022 at 12:29 and 28 seconds, correct?
I do not know.
And then after arriving home again on January 29th of 2022 at 12:29 and 29 seconds, you completed a 12-mile drive on January 29th of 2022 at 12:31 and 22 seconds. Did you not?
No.
And then you left home on January 29th of 2022 at 1:08 and 15 seconds, right?
I don't believe so.
And ultimately, you went through the home bubble and the Canton High School bubble, and you arrived at Canton High School on January 29th of 2022 at 1:28 in the morning and 8 seconds.
Can I see what you're referring to?
Sure. May I approach you on?
Yes.
You probably don't need these, right?
No, I'm good.
Okay, and to make it easy, I mean, you can read the whole thing, but where it says record 16 is what I just asked you about, but feel free to read the whole thing.
Thank you.
And if you would, read it silently to yourself and look up at me when you're done. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. May I push?
Yes.
Did that help refresh your memory on where you were that night?
No.
Do you still dispute that you went straight home and didn't leave there?
Objection.
Sustained.
And finally, I just asked you about arriving at Canton High School on January 29th of 2022 at 1:28 and 8 seconds. You arrived at home, within that home bubble, on January 29th of 2022 at 1:30 in the morning and 26 seconds, correct?
What time did it say I arrived at high school?
1:30 in the morning and 26 seconds.
And what time did it say I arrived at high school?
The high school was 1:28 and 8 seconds.
It wouldn't have taken me 2 minutes to go from the high school to my house. I'm confused.
With regard to the high school was also one of the bubbles, one of the areas where you could be, right, on Life 360?
No.
If I may.
Yes.
Okay. Did you say that on Life 360, the Canton High School is not one of the areas that you're tracked in?
What do you mean?
So do you remember we were talking earlier about?
Oh, like put in a location, like that was home, that was high school.
Locations, like, if your mother's looking for you, where are you?
Yes.
Well, you're at D&E Pizza, you're at high school, you're at, home, right? I mean, those could be categories.
Correct.
You've agreed that home was one of the categories.
Correct.
And having reviewed that, the Canton High School is also one of the categories, correct?
I believe so.
And on January 29th of 2022, the last entry is that you completed a 12-mile drive on January 29th of 2022 at 1:32 in the morning and 23 seconds. And that's the end of the activity. Do you agree with me that that's when you finally stopped that night?
I don't recall.
If I may have a moment.
Yes.
No further questions. Thank you, Mark.
All right, Mr. Lally.
Thank you. Now, Ms. McCabe, with regard to, did you get rid of your prior iPhone or did you upgrade your iPhone?
Upgrade.
And that would have been in December of 2022, is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Was it sometime around Christmas?
Yeah, probably.
And that could have been a present as far as getting a new iPhone or upgrading your iPhone?
Yes.
Now, as far as any of the information that you were shown as far as the screenshot, did you in any way, shape, or form alter or delete any of content within that text message from January 28th and the 29th with Colin out?
No.
And with reference to changing times or time zones or anything on text messages, before Mr. Yannetti asked you any of those questions, were you aware of any of those things as things that you could do with your phone?
No.
With regard to Life 360, what, if any, knowledge do you have as far as the accuracy of sort of the timestamps that are contained within that app?
Well, I'm not sure, but on the photo he showed me, it says like turn Wi-Fi on. So that like remind Allie to turn Wi-Fi on. So that could have affected the accuracy.
And that was on literally every single one of the alerts that was on that page that he showed you?
Every single one.
Now, Canton High School, do you know what street that's on?
Washington Street, I believe.
And
yeah.
About how far a ride is it from Canton High School to your house?
7-8 minutes, 10. I'm not sure.
You were in the bubble, Canton High School at 1:28 in the morning. Could you have possibly been in the bubble of your home at 1:30 in the morning?
No.
And unless you were going 90 miles an hour in a snowstorm?
No.
Now, you were asked some questions about that time frame of August of 2023 when you were asked and you turned over sort of screenshots to troopers from the state police, correct?
Correct.
You were asked about previous times indicating that you weren't asked and it wasn't relevant, correct?
Correct.
Now, do you know why you were asked in August of 2023 versus any prior time period?
Because Colin Albert wasn't in the house, and it was brought up here that he was.
And brought up where?
By the defense.
And around that time of August 2023?
I believe so, yes.
And with reference to relevancy, is that what you were talking about?
Correct.
And what, if anything else, you're close friends with Colin Albert, is that correct?
Correct.
What, if anything else, has either your family or Colin Albert and his family undergone over the course of pendency of this case?
Objection.
No, that the door's been opened. I'm allowing it.
Well, basically harassment.
Harassment by who?
Bloggers, people online.
And what, if anything, in relation to Colin Albert being in the house has occurred as far as the harassment that you're talking about?
Can you rephrase?
With reference to what you were talking about as far as the relevancy of Colin Albert being in the house at that time, what, if any, harassment was there in relation to that and in relation to Colin?
Well,
No, go ahead. She can answer.
Colin wasn't at the house, so he's being harassed he was not at the house when John was there, so I drove him home. So
When John was
people are
there.
harassing him saying
When
he
John
at the
was
house when
there.
It's not true.
When you speak about harassment, what specifically type of harassment?
I
Phone
didn't think
constant
John was
phone calls,
there.
emails, awful messages.
Objection.
I'll allow it. Focus on this witness, not Colin Albert at this point.
As far as you and your family, what, if any, type of harassment have you received?
People showing up at our house, people emailing my school, just like a lot of harassment. Can I have a moment, please?
Sure.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have some, thank you.
And how long a period of time has that persisted for?
Very long time.
Thank you. I have no further.
I have nothing further.
All right, Ms. McCabe, you're all set.
Thank you.
Your next witness, Mr. Lally.
Yes, on the Commonwealth will call Colin Albert to the stand.